Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning on the west side of the map, playing in blue, we've got 3DB, playing as the Holy Roman Empire. And his opponent in the southeast, playing in red, we've got Montezuma, playing as the Ayyubids. Welcome everyone to Lipany. That's the map for today, an interesting spawn by the way. A weird one, like you do sometimes get these cliffs where you can get sacred sites, so that's exactly what we've got today. On the west side you could wall this up quite nicely, a very safe sacred site to be getting. That is for sure. Weird skewed woodlines. Now Lipany is one of these maps that they've had some problems with this map in terms of map generation and spawning and how fair it can be at times. Really awkward actually, I gotta say, in this one. A lot of woodline concentrated on the west side. B with some great woodlines. Holy smokes, take a look at this. Look at the walling potential here. Absolutely huge. And there's two berry bushes there quite close by, like a wall to the edge of the map. It's got two berry bushes. There's even a third one here. Now bear in mind in terms of civ matchup, the HRE versus the Ayyubids, two very strong civilizations in Age of Empires 4 at the moment. I think HRE have been strong for a long time. I don't know if people necessarily agree, but I think they've been an S tier civ since the beginning of the game. Obviously very heavily focused on castle age, but with a 40% bonus on gather rate right from the get-go of the game, there's no other civilization that has economy like that. It's kind of crazy. And now with the additional buff that they've had, with the marching drills coming in for free, military units, super fast, right from the Dark Age. Look at this spearmen trudging across the map really quickly. Dark Age spearmen rushing is really viable now with the HRE. It can do a lot of damage, and like if you factor in like it's a civilization geared towards the Castle Age, most civilizations that are geared towards the Castle Age, they tend not to have too much of a presence in the Dark Age, because obviously you can't have a presence everywhere in every single age of the game, otherwise it's a bit imbalanced. But I feel like I gotta say, the HRE now, they can do Dark Age, they can do Feudal Age, you name it, they can do it. And that's it's an interesting time if you're an HRE main. It's one of the civilizations that I dislike the most, mostly because I hate playing against them. For various reasons. It's very difficult to push them. You've got emergency repairs, they've got a civilization where you go to the Imperial Age, difficult, hard to raid because they've got the Palace of Swabia, right? You kill villagers, two more spawn as soon as you kill one. So the timing on it, to raid them to death, the HRE is almost impossible. And as civilization, if you find it difficult to raid them to death, well, then you have to slow push them with siege. But guess what? They've got emergency repairs. It's incredibly frustrating. But now look at this. You've got Spearmen Dark Age rushing, and I'm pretty sure I saw a villager there. So, possibly looking to get an outpost added in as well. Where is that villager? Is there a villager there yet? Wait, yeah, there is. He just didn't have the wood for it. I think he's got the wood now. So behind all this aggression, you have 40% buffering with the Predator. He's got to be careful though, because obviously the sheep get chewed through very quickly. Like, I think that's the one thing about it. I mean, I don't know, people say it as if it's a negative, right? Oh, you chew through your food quickly, so you run out quickly, and so you have to go to the map quickly. Well, yeah, but that means you get the resources really fast, so you got the tools to actually make sure you're secured on the map. So I think it's really counterintuitive making that a point as if it's some sort of disadvantage. It's really not. You go through the food faster, you gather it faster, but you get it in your bank to use quicker. So as long as you're using it to secure the other sources of food, you're absolutely fine. Especially when you get farms as well. Either way, in the chat on Twitch chat today, we've got a disclosure that Montezuma could be WAM, or should be WAM, or is WAM. Thank you so much for that update there. And if you guys on YouTube thinking, what am I talking about? Well, I am streaming live on Twitch these days, so worth checking out and saying hi if you want to come in and say hi live. I'll leave a link in the video description if that tickles your fancy, but otherwise, I'd love to have you guys on YouTube either way. So I think the HRE are looking in a really good spot. I'm curious to see whether 3DB will be putting some more feudal age pressure on this, and Ayyubids being pushed off away from gold is massive, by the way, because again, in terms of castle age presence and posturing towards that, the Ayyubids are one of those civilizations that do like doing that as well. But now with the gold denied, it makes it very difficult. In fact, it will be feudal age aggression, typically shown by the Minework Palace. Going to give some additional techs, which are cheaper as well, acting as a blacksmith. Question in chat, does the tower rush as Mongols not working anymore? It does work, but not against, I think. So there are some civilizations that counter it really well. I think it's been an evolving feature in Age of Empires 4, where the Mongols outpost rush right at the early game. Once it was released, Age of Empires 4 that is, it was super strong. And now, actually there are civilizations that can do things against it. All this outpost might be... No, we should be fine. Spearmen are going to engage and garrison inside if they need to. But yeah, I'm going to comment on... leave the villagers exposed and thus west side outpost will be delayed. Well, it shouldn't be too bad. adds in another spearman garrison inside the outpost, makes it a bit more difficult to push. And I mean, the thing is, if he gets this outpost as well, this is the thing, right? Outpost rushes, the first outpost is kind of bad, something you have to deal with. But if you get a second one up, then it becomes a lot more challenging, especially if the berries are denied. I mean, arguably he's taken most of the berries anyway, but still, it's a significant one. Did go with the eco wing, so it does have the villager lead, Montezuma. Would have given him 3 additional village, but also, you know, would have given him some extra food on the berries, although this is being pushed away. Villagers back away now. But yeah, building on that, obviously, with the question about Mongols outpost, I think it depends on the civilization you're up against, but there are a lot of civilizations that are well equipped to deal with it. Like, for example, like the HRE here, look how many spearmen they can spam quickly. The Chinese can do well with it, as well with the production speed of the Imperial official supervising the barracks. Yeah, the Rus, you can't really outpost rush them. There's no point because they don't really need the gold early on. They get the Kremlin, more important, the hunting cabin. And hunting cabin gives them gold passively, and then they get bounty as well. So gold is not really a problem for them. English, you can't really outpost rush very easily because of the short bows and the villagers firing arrows. So in fact, as time has gone on, the number of civilizations the Mongols can actually successfully outpost rush has been diminishing quite significantly. I mean, the Ottomans maybe could trickle in there a little bit as well with the military score. It takes some time for that to really come online though. So, you know, they have to commit to Dark Age spearmen in terms of barracks production. So I think against Ottomans it's viable, but they can still do a decent amount of work. Now the Montezuma are actually going into the gold here, getting an outpost. But it's forcing him into that, right? Which is massive. Going to go for the boar now, HRE. And this is the issue going with spearmen nice and early. Gives them some map control, gets onto the pocket economies. But with the tech up for the Ibids, has dropped an archer range for archers to deal with those spearmen, and also some horsemen as well. Interesting enough, I want to see what the HRE are going for. A couple of archers, and bear in mind the movement speed. Marching drills coming in for free now. There's a recent buff and is super strong. Trying to get an outpost in that forward position. Let's be careful. The spearmen obviously countered by the archers. Prelate coming up to heal up a little bit. Now really the primary goal rather for these spearmen is to buy time, to allow the archer mass to rise in numbers. You've got to be careful about the spearmen though, the horsemen rather. He needs the spearmen to deal with the horsemen. Prelate coming out to heal on up, and this is the benefit of having the 40% gather speed buff. Oh, you know, that food's going to come in so fast for the HRE. Taking the boar, which is, you know, arguably one of the fastest gathering of food on the map. The Prelate adding another 40%. That is no joke, guys. So yeah. Rizra, hopefully that answers the question. And about the trade as well. Yeah, something to think about. Like, trade is one of those things, high risk, high reward. It's one of those situations where I think if you've got a decision between having a safe economy with a second town center, or do you go for trade? I mean, I feel like second town center is generally a lot more safer, right? Unless you feel confident about being able to defend your trade. And then there are certain maps designed for it as well. Like, you know, I think Lipany could be a decent trade map, depending on where your trade post is. You know, the trade post is in a decent spot, to be fair. But, you know, there's a fewer angles of attack, right, when it closes maps. Oh, speaking about angles of attack, horsemen coming in from the north on that gold vein, pushing them away a little bit. Now, I just wonder whether Montezuma will be thinking about going to the castle age with culturing for a little bit of a quicker time, or not. Either way, what's really concerning, this Dark Age aggression that transpired for the HRE bought him a bit of time. As long as he can keep alive with these units and these villages in particular gathering the food, keeping an eye on it, he does do exactly that. He should have a decent castle age time up behind this. Now bear in mind the Ayyubids haven't lost a single villager. And he's obviously got the villager lead because of the fact he went for the growth. Well, he's going to get a couple of kills here on the gold vein. Might get one. Well, I think he should be able to survive actually. Oh, a little bit of HP, 4 HP does garrison inside and survives. Bit of idle time caused here, but the Prelate healing on up is absolutely fine. One horseman's not going to be enough to deny that. And it's more idle time that's being caused here. But you can see, look at the movement speed on these archers for B and the HRE. 1.38 versus the 1.25. It means that he can dictate the terms of engagement. He can push on as much as he wants to. Adding in man-at-arms as well in the feud loge. Forgot to mention that. The unique unit. Well, not so much unique. I mean, there's only a couple of other civilizations that get that. Of course, the Japanese get the samurai, kind of equivalent. English get the man-at-arms from the Dark Age, really. Archer numbers not looking all that great for B. I'm surprised he's actually fighting this. It does have Iron Undermesh, to be fair, which is a good blacksmith upgrade to have. Also getting Steeled Arrows, so we've got the tech advantage. But only for a couple of seconds, because Iron Undermesh is going to be coming in soon. But the key issue is the Man at Arms. I love this play by B. Keeping this Man at Arms alive is going to heal up with the Prelate, which is massive. Great play by B. Message in chat. Weirdly, Shadows of Clouds redraws when the camera is moving. Thought it was a problem with my GPU, but now I see it on the streams as well. Yeah, I think... Yeah, it's just one of those things, I think. Yeah, it does seem to redraw. Yeah, you can see it redraws. Look. There we go. Oh, a couple of villages might go on the berries. Does lose 2 so far. Probably a third. Maybe even a 4th cheeky one. No, it doesn't quite manage it in the end. That was a big pick off, by the way. Holy moly. But I love the fact that B's actually made more prelates. It's something that often a lot of players actually forego. Like 40% buffering is massive, and so having one on the woodline, one on the gold, especially if you're not getting the Ark and Chapel, kind of need them. Big concern for the Ibis now, being pushed away from gold quite heavily. But he is going to take up to the next stage, going to go for logistics, going to give him 3 dervishes, improves the unit healing by 30%. Interesting, he's going to make a move for the relics, right? Understandably so, because he's kind of concerned about the HRE going to the cast stage for the relics themselves with the Regnitz Cathedral potentially. Could be a nice way to deny those relics quite quickly. 3 dervishes could be powerful. Bear in mind that's kind of concerning. An extended fuel for the HRE is really strong, not only because of marching drills, but because of the Man-at-Arms. Now, if we thought marching drills for the archers was great, Man-at-Arms are going to gap close really quickly. Like, the one thing about Man-at-Arms is that they're designed to be slow and heavily armoured. Added marching drills, they're not as slow as you may be thinking. Villager's going to repair, but oh, this is not looking great. He's going to have to lose his position, I think, Montezuma. Going to try and extract as much value as he possibly can, but Man-at-Arms tanking pretty heavily. We'll lose 1 at least, I suspect. Archers versus archers. And if B wants to back away from that fight, he always can with marching drills. That's the key element. But the cast stage is now in for Montezuma. Maybe a Manjanik or 2 could be pretty helpful, but it's lacking gold, right? And that is the big problem. Possibly going to go to gold on the south side. It's kind of needed. The outpost eventually will go down. Oh, village repairing, trying to extract as much value. They're backing away. Doesn't have wheelbarrow actually, so I think these villagers are just dead, right? Marching drills is going to help with that for sure. Going to try and get a counter-attack with the archers. How much he'll get though, that's the question. B, really committing to that feud age. 40 military units versus 14. Now there is a timing where it's actually kind of concerning if the units are upgraded, but the problem for the Ibids, right? He's gone to the next 8, but how much has it actually achieved for him? I mean, to be fair, he will be picking up some of the relics. I think that's the big difference maker. He's not really getting a power spike in terms of military units just yet. As I say that though, a couple of Camel Lancers pop out, but he does definitely need to secure some gold, right? Relics going to give some passive gold income, which is helpful for sure. Massive archers though, walking around. Always going to snap out the dervish. Should get it. Focus on it. There it is. Oh wait. Oh, it actually deposited it in the end. Holy moly. Pretty tanky in the end. Pretty surprised that survived. I was expecting it to go down before it deposited, but managed to get in there in time. Now these archers really do have to back away, right? We're heading to the stage of the game where these Cavalry Lancer numbers are looking pretty devastating, and 3DB needs to get to the castle age. What does he go with now? Does he go with the Regnitz? I don't think... I mean, is it worth it? I mean, if he can get 2 relics, that's fine, but he's at serious risk of losing them as well. It's looking a bit tricky. The outpost will be taken care of now by the Camel Lancers, and it's going to go back onto gold, which does mean B's window of opportunity... Well, I say the Ibis window of opportunity is going to be coming in pretty quickly to do some big damage. It keeps pumping out units. But factor in the fact, B can't really commit to making too many units for the short term. He needs to take up. I mean, he still is doing so, but the more he commits to more units, the delay in his castle age is going to keep on growing. But he's going to go for the boar here. That delay to the castle age won't be too far when you've got this number of villages and a prelate gathering food that way. Camel Lance is going to clean up these archers. It's such a bit of a problem, right? There's a lot of archers here. They are... Oh yeah, they're trapped. There's no way out. And this is massive for Montezuma, by the way, because this is a lot of units that could have been veteran archers. He tried to get value, but B, you're kind of caught here at this point. You know, there is always a timing where you have to think about heading back home with your units to keep them alive to the next stage. But unfortunately, these ones are going to die. And Montezuma, he's walling up behind all of this. I mean, at this point, it feels like B, at the time he will end up going to the castle stage, it feels like it's probably, maybe even, if he can get this relic quickly, to be fair, I think it'd be okay to go relics actually, because he's got prelates on the map, so if he just picks up one of these two of these relics, it'd be fine. Obviously he would want more, but it is what it is. How's it going, Vanders in chat? Yeah, absolutely. You like playing HRE just this way? Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think it's a really strong way to play it. I think generally, actually, to be honest with you, before even the patch, this was a strong way to play HRE. Obviously, you know, there are probably stronger ways to play as the HRE, namely Castle Age focusing, but now it feels like, I think really, the HRE always had this in their armory. It always had the potential to do this. It just felt like the Castle Age was always a thing, a play in their book, which was a bit too good to forego and not use. And because of that, the Feudal Age kind of presence kind of wasn't that great. Wasn't chosen a lot. But now with the buffering, it feels like almost the Feudal Age pressure is one that you can't really ignore. Gonna need to get a gate here and try and deny. I mean, he's got to try and save these villages, right? There's a lot of them. Oh, Camel Lance is going to poke and prod through the gate. The question is, will he be able to survive? I mean, it should be okay. He should be okay. Does he engage this, though? I'm not so sure. To be fair, he's got a good number of spearmen. I think he will take a good trade. I think, yeah, even with Feudal Age versus Castle Age, it's definitely enough here. The archers don't really add too much, but the spearmen, of course, numbers are looking really solid. Especially with the full blacksmith upgrades, you can't really go wrong with that. It's going to be the Regent's Cathedral, so we should be able to score 2 relics. I don't think it's certainly worth it, right? It's going to be able to secure 2 relics and get a lot of gold that way. Yeah, Belgrave Palace is not really one of those landmarks that really do well in this sort of scenario where you've had a heavy Castle Age, heavy Feudal Age, and then you've got plenty of production anyway that you can easily get at this point. Because you've got 50 villages, so you should be able to get wood pretty quickly. Oh, Archer's kind of caught in this position. Like, if they get to veterancy status, they should be able to trade a little bit. But 2 Camel Lancers is probably enough to actually clean this up the way things are. Although a couple of Spearmen now, then actually it's a different picture entirely. Gonna ride on in with the Camel Lancers. Gonna idle all the villages on gold, which is massive. 1 relic picked up by the HRE, not deposited just yet. Villagers to garrison inside. Not enough space, though, for all the villagers. So B will be losing a couple of villages here in this push, although... yeah, he's not going to get too much value on the front lines because he's fully walled up here, the Ayyubids. Does have 1 Sacred Site picked up as well. We actually pushes through around the back, so economy here going to be a little bit exposed and risky. But of course, Camel Lancers to dive on top of that. All those decent number of Spearmen should be okay. The Veterancy does come in, the Archers there in a good time. Veterancy and the Spearmen might come in, and no, I don't think it will come in time actually. The villagers being poked and prodded by the archers, good numbers being killed. And even if the Camel Lancers do start to jump on top of these veteran archers, they are veteran archers, they get some damage out of this. Spearman keeps on chasing those Camel Lancer mass. Kind of scary to deal with. Now there's no... oh, there is a way out. He must have burned through that with the... I don't know what he used to burn through, but he got through in the end. So we were to run on out of there. I mean... yeah, with only... iron under mesh, no wedge rivets, I think the archers actually should be able to survive this. At least the 2 camels here. Maybe not the extra 2 camels heading on in. Either way, around the back, good raiding here on the deer camp. Losing a couple of villages here for sure. Camel Lancers now do actually have a charge attack. Actually, charges only on 1. Doesn't want to take the engagement with the spearman numbers. Too heavy. Just trying to extract as much value here, B. We'll take out probably both these Camel Lancers at the end, but the archer numbers for the Ayyubids chasing heavily. Marching drills, though, if he takes out the Camel Lancers, should be able to retreat. Of course, got the movement speed advantage. Takes out a couple of Camel Lancers there on the wood line. Runs away with most of them. Oh, villages on berries. The outpost, will it go up in the end? I mean, not without casualties. Oh, he's going to back away. He's going to back away and try and retreat as best he can. Now he's killed the Camel Lancers, means that the archers can't keep up there for the Ayyubids. Goes back into the safety of the encampment. Healing on up. Could actually get all 3 Sacred Sites here, the Ayyubids. That's pretty strong in terms of gold count, but also gives them potential win condition. In fact, always taking the trade. I think the HRE be fine with this, actually. Should win that fight quite convincingly. Like 1 or 2 archer numbers deficit makes a big difference in the overall fight. Oh, Camelot's getting a massive charge on those villagers on Deergam. B is going to lose a lot of villagers here. Lost 19 in total. Looking a bit rough. Looks like the Iber's now going over to berries. Interesting, because B was trying to get the free food on the map. Also trying to deny from the Ibids, which obviously do love to get the berries. The Camelance is always riding around though for Montezuma. Great mobility and causing all sorts of trouble. Has to commit to 3 outposts. Still gets slaughtered here a little bit here on the villagers. Could actually take out the prelate, which is massive. We'll have to reinvest in that. Villagers idled in a big way. Oh, that's actually kind of open. Not that it led to anything. Spearman continued the chase. B trying to get some value on the front, but he's got to be careful not to ignore the sacred sites. I mean, sure, there's 9 minutes on it. So no sort of immediate pressure. Oh, they brace. Camelos has charged in, but didn't engage fully just as well, because I think it would have been a massacre otherwise. Spearman continued to chase. Like a small palisade wall here actually would save that sacred site for quite some time. But ultimately, Montezuma in all sorts of areas of the map. I mean, it gets to the situation now the HRE need that farming transition. There it is. The Ibids don't necessarily need that. It feels like the map control really kind of swinging in his position, although he's taking engagement here with the Spearman. Not ideal at all with those Camel Lancers. Charges in once again. I mean, he will be able to clear this up with the archers there hiding in behind that tree, which is definitely useful. So he will clear that up, but not with that number of spearmen. Could be tricky, although the archers, if they're focusing here for the Ibids, if they whittle down the numbers down of the spearmen, the Camelasters then will work hard. Gonna try and get on top of those arch numbers. Kind of exposed here, B. Oh, arch numbers, they're getting surrounded. Prelates out to help out healing, but if they go down, it's not only the healing that's lost, it's also the buffering on the villagers. Spearmen in good numbers though. Have to focus down on with the archers. Around the back. Not too much being achieved there by B in the north. He's going on the berries, and the main fight is definitely down the middle. Spearman numbers still looking decent for B, trying to chase down the archer numbers. Montezuma going to try and extract as much value, readying it south with those Camel Lancers, trying to escape that fight. No reason to commit with those. The archers will go down. Because of the marching drills, look at this, Spearman really gap closing really nicely. It's something they shouldn't be able to do, but, you know, marching drills changes everything. He's engaging here against the Spearman, going to clear it up, but not without casualties. And, I mean, I know I'm making a big deal out of marching drills, but it is a big deal because I think generally before it came in for free for the HRE, it's one of those things that is such a great upgrade to have, but you tend not to get it as the HRE until quite late. Because it just halts your tempo, right? If you're playing a heavy feudal age aggression, you want upgrades, but you don't want upgrades to significantly delay you with unit numbers. And it always felt like marching drills always did that, right? Because it's not like a blacksmith upgrade that you get, you know, extra power out of the units. You get movement speed, which is definitely a great bonus to have, but it's not like an immediately felt one, right? Because a lot of units in the feudal age can decide whether you engage or not. You know, if a player is playing very defensive, then you're not going to charge in with your spearmen, and so movement speed comes kind of, you know, not really relevant. But when it comes in for free, you know, it makes it a lot smoother for the economy. You don't have to research it, of course, and it doesn't cost you anything. Camel Lancer's backing away. Starting to get some siege now. The Ibers looking to put some pressure on the castle age. 1 Manchnik and a battering ram. The concern for the Ibers, though, is that, bear in mind the HRE have a good safe economy of food underneath the town centre and the mill there. Farming transition has been, you know, it's been heading in for the HRE for some time. Can't say the same for the Ibids. They're going to need a hard farming transition relatively soon and doesn't necessarily have the wood for it just yet. Because this berries is pretty much the mainstay of the food. Once that expires, and this berries as well, he's going to need that farming transition. Could be a quite hard one, especially if he comes mid whilst he's fighting on the front lines. Could be the worst possible timing. I'll tell you what's worst possible timing, this raid on the wood line. Because if he does need a farming transition, he's not going to have much wood to do it. Camel Lancers are being cleared up with the Spearman numbers. Looking pretty decent there for B. A couple of archers sprinkled in as well. Heading north with the Camel Lancers to see if we can raid a little bit. Mostly causing idle time with these Spearmen and archers. Comes with the Ram. Ram pretty low on health already though. Oh, Mandrake about to deploy. Needs to split up the units. Does dodge there really nicely there. B takes out the Ram. And also has a cavalry unit which does dive quite quickly, I gotta say. Now with the Man at Arms, if they can get close to the arch numbers, looking pretty decent. There's a couple of crossbows sprinkled in. Oh, Mandrake does deploy, but again the Man at Arms pretty tanky, right? He's fine. Camel Lancers charging around the back, trying to get value on the farms. Does idle a lot of villagers. Let's push in the middle. Still going on of the Ibis base. Has now finished. He's looking good. He's pushing on in. And at arms gap closing. Those archer numbers, they're going to start to dwindle. Oh, Camel Lancers. Oh, this could be devastating. Wait, he spotted it? He has now. And wait, oh, that's unfortunate. Ah, he spotted it in the end. Either way, Spearman going to come in hand. He's going to lose a couple of villages before he deals with it, though. Good ranged army here for B, pushing on the front lines. Camel Lancer charging on in. Around the back. But good dangerous mass of the HRE units. Camel Lancer is being pushed away. Needs to be careful not to engage that just yet. Trickling in more units here. B really starting to flood. 47 military units versus 17. This could be problematic for Montezuma. I'm not quite sure he has enough to hold this push if it's coming in this numbers. Adds in a night or two as well. No siege, of course, just yet. But if that gets added in, could be devastating. Starting to gain a little bit of momentum here, HRE. Especially with the farming in play. The Ibis, are they starting to farm just yet? Not quite. Taking the remainder of a deer camp. Berries here expired. Still got these berries here, but once that goes away, that's going to be a problematic situation. Definitely the Ibis playing defensively. They kind of need to. There's a good army here for the B. The raids are back at home is pretty much dealt with. And the Ibis kind of pressurized quite significantly. Similar sort of villager count, but bear in mind, of course, the villagers for the HRE gathering 40% faster. That's a huge bonus for sure. B continues to push on forward. 6 sites now being capped by the HRE somewhat. And this is okay. Like, I mean, B's losing some units, but ultimately he's trading pretty well. And okay, in fact, he's trading more than just well. He's going to actually start to win the fight. Heading further forward, archer numbers start to dwindle underneath the town centre. I mean, this could be a problem for Montezuma. I don't think he can hold this. Doesn't have enough stone, or any stone, in fact, for a keep now. Trying to get some production up, but no real bank of resources. He's losing a lot. A couple of knights diving on in. I think Montezuma might tap out soon. Sacred Site's being captured by the HRE. A flood of the infantry units popping on in. Villagers on the woodline having to back away. A lot of idle time caused by that, and the HRE starting to dominate, and it continues to trickle in units flooding in and keeping the town centre idle. More might be heading on in. He's getting a little bit of raid here, Montezuma, on the woodline, it seems. Although, yeah, I mean, I get a couple of kills, but ultimately, does it? I mean, to be fair, he needs to deal with this, actually. You can't just let this one Camel Lancer wreak havoc. Defense advantage will help with that, but might lose a couple of villages in the meantime. Either way, he's still flooding here. B finding it difficult to hold here, Montezuma. Really struggling on food count. And it's the Man at Arms that problematic, right? He's adding a couple of golems, but not enough crossbowmen to deal with them. Camel Lancer has been taken care of, and that Camel Lancer was not enough there for Montezuma. He taps out the HRE and B, coming with heavy feudal age pressure, then transitioning into a castle age, which is what the HRE do best. Gets the victory on Nippany. Hope you guys enjoyed this castle game on YouTube. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.